and welcome back to another episode of Screen Tested. I am your host Tyrant, where we take things from movies, TV shows, pop culture, try to create them in the real world and test them one-on-one from the media that they come from. Now in today's episode we are delving back into the world of One Piece, and we're going to be taking a look at Kaido's club. The Kanabo or Kanabo, however you want to pronounce it. I'm just going to call it Kaido's War Club because it's a lot easier for me. Now, this is an interesting weapon because it's actually based on a historical weapon. It's a Japanese war club. And it's actually pretty cool, to be honest with you. I kind of like it. I've noticed this a lot more lately. A lot of the One Piece weapons are very interesting in that they are kind of based on real weapons, and they're actually not bad in their design, especially when you compare them to like other animes, which can be completely ridiculous. It just seems like in One Piece what they'll do, take a real sort of weapon and then just make it a little bit bigger. You know, you take Arlong's sword, which seems to be somewhat of a functional design, and make it a bit bigger. You take Kaido's war club, make it a bit bigger. You take Mihawk's sword and you make it a little bit bigger. It seems to be a staple of One Piece. But for the most part, I'm actually quite impressed with a lot of the designs of the weapons from One Piece. But yes, today we're going to be taking a look at Kaido's War Club. This should be a fun episode. I've already spent a day researching how I should build this because it should be an easy build. It has been a pain. But let's get into it. Let's get started. So before we get into the build, I have some things that I want to talk about. So this is a project that I assumed was going to be very simple. And in theory, it should be fucking simple, right? I mean, we're just making a club out of wood and then putting some spikes on it. Super duper simple, super duper easy. Turns out, it's a much bigger pain than one might first assume. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's so ridiculous, right? This is basically what happened. I wanted to make this club a lot more accurate to the manga and anime so that you guys would be happy, because usually when I optimize the designs, people want to see them in their full glory and stuff like that. So I planned with the club today to make it quite a bit larger. Turns out all of my local hardware stores don't have any of the wood needed in that size and thickness, and the ones that they do have is not hardwoods, meaning I could carve it, but as soon as I hit something with it, it's going to break. And that also brings me to my next sort of solution, I guess. I have a big log that I was going to use for today's project. The problem is it's a wet log. It's not a hardwood, and it's got a lot of moisture in it. So the only option that I was left with was using a baseball bat. A baseball bat isn't a bad option either, because it's a club of sorts. It's already optimized, it's already balanced, it's made out of hardwood. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, the problem is, in my country, baseball isn't really a thing, so finding a proper baseball bat that's actually used for baseball and made out of hardwood is expensive. So I've already sunk over $100 in today's build. If you want to become a channel member, I would really appreciate it, because these videos don't make money. Anyway, I just wanted to rant about this a little bit because this is a project that is so simple. Like, I have all of the tools, I have all of the ability to create this, but for some reason I was just unable to find the right wood. Anyway, let's get started with the build project. So the build for Kaido's War Club is actually kind of simple. Because I'm going to be using this baseball bat, this is about 34 inches, it's the biggest one I could find, especially in time for today's project. But all I need to do is make up a whole bunch of spikes. Now these spikes that I'm going to be creating are out of solid aluminum round bar. Now the reason why I'm using aluminum round bar over something like steel is simply just weight. Because of the type of weapon this will be, it's going to be incredibly effective no matter what. And I think aluminum round bar, especially because it's solid, is going to be perfectly fine. This is the type of weapon that I'm expecting in testing to absolutely obliterate everything. So that's why I'm going with the aluminum. I'm going to chuck it onto my lathe and simply machine out a whole bunch of different spikes. This is just rinse and repeat, really. Then I'm going to drill some holes into the baseball bat that are the same size as the spikes that I've machined, and use some epoxy to hold them in place. But yeah, a very simple build, and I think the results turned out pretty cool, honestly. Let's get to some B-roll and then to the testing. We are here with Kaido's club ready to be tested. Now, there's a couple of things I want to mention. First off, this is the first time I've ever held a real, like, American baseball bat. Baseball isn't really like a sport in my country, so An actual proper hardwood baseball bat is very hard to come by, very expensive, and I'm actually surprised at the weight of these things. Now obviously this has all the spikes in it, so it's a little bit heavier than it was before, but even before, when I first kind of like got it, right, it was heavier than I thought it would be. Just one of those things where I'm exposed to a different sport and it's just interesting to me. All you Americans are probably just watching going, yeah, no shit, idiot. But please, no bully. I don't know anything about baseball. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the club and we're going to be smashing Tony, smashing a couple of different mediums. We'll see how good this Kanabo is. Oh, that actually is sharp. But I think this one should be pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be an absolute monster. It's a fucking war club. All right, let's get started. One last thing I forgot was a safety helmet. We want to make sure that Tony is nice and protected today. So we got him a safety helmet, a construction helmet. I painted it a nice Tyrant thread because it's me, of course I'm going to do that. So I'm going to be wearing glasses for this one just because I don't know how well these spikes are going to hold on. I think they should be okay, but if one of these spikes comes out, that's basically a projectile. Now, interestingly enough, I've never mentioned this before, but I can actually hit both left and right. Like, they're both actually comfortable for me. So what I'm going to do is not hit towards my camera. I'm gonna hit the other way. You have one job, mate. Fucking hell. Anyway, he's doing his own thing. Let's see how this club performs. This is just fun. Like, I know what's gonna happen. We're going to fuck everything up, but it's just so fun. This is like a weapon I would take to like a escape room. Maybe Kaido's onto something. All right, two-hander. One second it's there, the next it's not. Another! Now I know I said I was not gonna hit towards my camera, but this one's for you, my subscriber. Become a member today, it's available. If you like this content and you want to support everything that you're seeing, you can become a member down below. There's a link in the pinned comment and there should be a link next to the subscribe button. Become a member today and help support the channel. All right, big hit towards the camera now. Man, that feels so good. I like that. Yeah, this is a nice one. This is zombie apocalypse weapon. All right, another, next. Let's do this is called a pumpkin. I see so many people commenting that it's a squash. It's actually a pumpkin. I checked today because I wanted to know what it's called. It's called, I know it has pumpkin in the name, I just don't remember the rest. Anyway, bye-bye, pumpkin. I like that. I like that one. That felt nice. Ah, that's hot. Next one. All right, so we've got some pork here. This is what we used in a previous episode. So the top of it is a little bit damaged. However, they were more serrations. These are big pointy things, so I think you'll be able to tell what made what. All right, so let's hit this. I think this is going to smash through it. I'm actually a bit worried I might destroy my cutting stand more than anything. The force just forced it into the holder more than anything. I'll see if I can get it on this camera. It's just forcing it into the holder. Yeah, I might need to brace that on something else. If you're enjoying today's episode, you should really consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. I tore one of the things out. That was my bad. I kind of tipped it, and because I tipped it, I ripped one of the studs out. So, let's do that again. Ah, yes! Oos! All right, we've seen that this thing fucks. That's how I'm going to describe it. So let's move up to Tony and see what we can do to a human analog. We'll start with the helmet because this is a proper construction helmet. So I think we're going to smash straight through it. Like, I don't even think this is going to be an issue. One of them dug in and one of them cracked through. There's something about being a guy hitting things. That felt good. How you doing, Tony? So this is where it cracked before, yeah? Then this is where I put a hole in it. Can I get my little fingies through? See, fingies can go straight through. There's always one. All right, I think we've proved the point. This thing is incredibly dangerous, incredibly deadly, and incredibly fun as well. I actually really like it. I really like the weight distribution. Like I said before, I would have preferred to have something a little bit bigger, a little bit more closer to the manga and the anime. Just wasn't possible. However, I do think that this was a good compromise. Man, that feels good. That feels really good. I like this. Anyway, yes. All right. I'm gonna do that again. I wanna do that again. That was fun. Shinu. I am not going to continue this episode, Tony, until you put your top back on. This is a family show. Okay, all right. It is time to move on to Tyrant's initial thoughts score. Or tits, for short. I don't know if that was censored or not. If it was, then we might have to pick a new name because YouTube doesn't like it. So, starting off with comfort. This thing it's very comfortable. I really like it. Now, obviously, we're talking more about this design here, not the anime or manga. But to be fair, this is reasonably close, actually. It's not too far off what we see in the source material. So, hey, I'm kind of like a 7 or 8 for comfort. You can use it one hand, you can use it two hand. It's incredibly nimble. It feels very well balanced. I like it. Next up, we have usability. Now, usability is interesting because I think it's actually pretty good. Like, there's not really any big flaws with this that I can see. I think it is a club, it acts like a club, and it's really good at being a fucking club. So again, I'm in like, let's say, 7 territory. It's really good for its usability. Next up, we have its effectiveness. Now, this is an interesting one because I don't think I can give it a 10. I don't think I can give it a 10 because while it is incredibly effective across the board, there are other weapons that are more effective than this. And remember, we're rating all these things, so they have to go head to head with other things. But with that context given, this thing is a monster. This thing will fuck you up. So I'm in around the 8 territory, 7, 8. This is really, really good. I like it. It's fucking effective. So, and then we have finally and lastly, design. The design of this weapon is, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It's basically a real historical weapon. It's a Kanabo, a Kanabo, whatever you want to say it. It's a big club, and it's very good at being a big club. I like the design, and the funny thing is, this design is very similar to the one in the source material. It's just the one, obviously, in the source material is a lot bigger. So, for design, I mean, hey, it's also like an 8. This is a good weapon overall. Zombie apocalypse, you know, to get through armor, to smash through things, it's a fucking monster. So that gives us a total of 31 out of 40. Whoa, I think that might be our highest rated weapon so far. I think it is. But I think that's going to conclude today's episode. I genuinely hope you enjoyed. Just another fun One Piece one. Now, you can support this content. You can support the channel by becoming a member. Down below next to the subscribe button, there is a join button, and in the link in the comments. I would really appreciate it. Help support this channel. Helps me deal with the costs of all these builds because they add up. So consider becoming a member today and help supporting the channel. I genuinely appreciate it. Remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below of what you thought of today's episode. Leave suggestions for other things that I can build. And as always, I will see you in another episode.